Welcome to the video. My name is Pushpinder Gill and this is going to be my email address where you can send me your valuable feedback. Well, thank you for the feedbacks that are coming. I'm loving your feedbacks. Okay, so today we're going to do the topic average. Okay, so this is one of the most simplest but one of the most important topic whatever exam you take, whether it's GMAT or whether it's GRE or SAT or CAT, whatever exam you take, it's one of the most simplest and one of the most important topics. So let's go ahead and get started with the average. Now, what exactly average is? Average is sum of numbers divided by number of items. Let's take for a simple example that there are 10 teachers and they have 80 children to teach. Find the average number of students with them. So there are 80 children that they're supposed to teach, alright, and there are 10 teachers. So there are 10 number of items and total of children to be distributed are 80. That means that on an average each teacher will get 8 children to teach. Now, just to get you warmed up, let me just give you just simple questions so that you understand what is the meaning of average. Again, let's suppose if there are 5 members in a family, the average age of a family of 5 members is 24 years. What is the sum of the ages of all the members of that family? Now, the average age of the 5 members is 24. So the number of items are 5 and the average is 24. That means that the sum, it's going to be 24 times 5, because you know that average is equal to sum by number, right? That means average is equal to sum of items divided by number of items. So I can very well say that sum is equal to average into number, or I can say that average is equal to sum by number, or number is equal to sum by average. So this way you get your answer. Let's look at another easy question so that it's completely clear to you guys. So if $300 is distributed among a group of people, the average money that they receive is 25. How many people are there in the group? So $300 is distributed. That means the sum of money that is to be distributed is $300. And we don't know the number of people. That's what we have to find out. But the average given to us is 25. Right? So the average given to us is 25. Then the average is equal to sum by number, and from where over here you can pretty much calculate that number of items are gonna be sum divided by average. So that would give you your answer. Now these are the questions which you don't usually get. Now these questions won't be asked you unless you're giving SAT or you're giving a simple exam. So let's understand. Now this is not enough. Now for you to gain more clarity in the subject, you would have to understand the true meaning of average, which is very important. If I just teach you that average is sum by number, then you know what, I should close my shop down and move forward. Now let us understand what is the meaning of average. Alright, now if you calculate the average of these numbers, if you do 15 plus 75 plus 100 plus 110 by 4, if you do that, you get your average to be, well, 15, 75, 110. You get your average to be 75. Okay, so you get your average to be 75. Now let us understand what exactly 75 is. Okay, now if we want to calculate 75 is how far from 75? It's 0 far, it's exactly the same. Now 75 is how far from 15? It's 60 backwards, isn't it? Right? 100 is how far from 75? It's 25 ahead. And 110 is how far from 75? It's 35 forward. Now if I add all the positive numbers, right, 25 and 35, that gives me a positive 60. And if I add all the negative numbers, it gives me a negative 60. Can you see that all the negative numbers and all the positive numbers cancel out each other? That is the meaning of average. So average is the number which is right in the middle in terms of magnitude, guys, not always in terms of position, just in terms of magnitude. Now if you understand the meaning of magnitude, means in terms of numbers. Okay, now let me explain it to you in a more better way. These are the numbers, okay? let's suppose this is one number, this is one number, and this is one number, and this is one bigger number. Average is such a hook. Average is such a number which creates a balance between the numbers which are greater than the average and numbers which are smaller than the average. So if the bigger number is big enough for the number to take the effect of these three small numbers, fine, doesn't matter at all. So position doesn't matter. How average is the number which is right in the middle in terms of magnitude. Mathematically, I can say that the deviation on the negative side is equal to the deviation on the positive side. So the deviation on the negative side is equal to deviation on the positive side. That is the meaning of average. Alright, now I hope you've understood this meaning. Now hold that thought. Let's just go ahead and solve some, let me explain you how does that concept work. Now the question is asking me what is the average of 100, 120 and 170. Now what do? You calculate the average of 100, you do that 100 plus 120 and 170. Now what can you do that? Instead of doing that, you can assume any number to be the average, right? Let me assume that 100 is the average. Okay, so how far is, let's calculate the average of these numbers. I want to show a different point. So the average of these numbers is 130. Now if you see that 130 is how far from 100? Negative 30. 130 is how far from 120? Negative 10. And 130 is how far from 170? Positive 40. If I add all the deviations, I get 0. Which means what? Which means that 130 is my average, which has again proved that the negative deviations are always equal to the positive deviations when taken from the average. Alright? Okay, so I hope you've understood this point. Great. Now let's move forward. Now let's see this question. Now the average of 81, 93, 99 and x is 87. He's asking you to calculate the value of x. Now you know what? Instead of adding all these numbers and then dividing by 4 and then equating to 87, you can very well say that, alright, these are the four numbers, 81, 93, 99 and there's a number x whose average is 87. So if 87 is the average, that means that you can very well say that the negative deviations will be equal to positive deviations, or the sum of all the deviations will be 0. Now let's see what are the deviations we have. So how far is 81 from 87? Negative 6. How far is 87 from 93? Positive 6. And how far is 87 from 99? Positive 12. Now if you see, I am left with a deviation of positive 12. For me to cancel out everything, I should get a negative 12 here, isn't it? So that means this number must be 12 lesser than 87. That means this number must be 87 minus 12, that is 75. Now I'm giving you the power. Now this might seem a little absurd to you in the beginning, but believe me, the applications of this technique are way higher than that normal thing that we have been doing since high school. The application of this are way higher. You're gonna learn that from the coming videos, right? So let me just take a quick recap. Now he said that there are four numbers, 81, 93, 99 and x, and the average is 87. Alright, so I just knew that if the average is 87, the negative deviations should be equal to the positive deviations. So how far is 81 from 87? Negative 6. How far is 93 from 87? Positive 6. How far is 99 from 87? Positive 12. And if I calculate all the deviations, I get a positive 12. That means I must be getting a negative 12, so that the negative deviations and positive deviations are equal and I get a 0 deviation. That means that this number must be 12 lesser than the average, and that number would be 75. right? I hope everyone understood this. Let's move forward. Now let's see a good question that you can very well solve by using this technique. Now there are 11 numbers. The average of first 5 numbers is 72 and the average of last 5 numbers is 81. If the average of all the 11 numbers is 78, you have to find the middle number. So I'm gonna list down the 11 numbers right here. Okay, now as you know that the average of first 5 is given to you and average of last 5 is given to you. So the average of first 5 numbers is 72. So these are the first 5 numbers, 1 2 3 4 5, and their average is 72. And the average of last 5 numbers is 81. So what are the last 5 numbers? These are the last 5 numbers and their average is 81. And he has given you that the average of all the numbers is 78. Isn't it? Right. And you have to just find the middle number. Now if you can very well see, every number here on an average is 72. Every number over here on an average is 81. Now you tell me, how far is 78 from 72? It's -6, isn't it? It's 6 behind. And how many numbers are there which are -6 behind? There are 5 numbers. That means all in all, these numbers are giving me a deviation of -30, isn't it? Now let's try and calculate the deviation from here as well. Now, how on an average these numbers are 81. So that means how far are they from average? They are 3 greater than the average. And how many numbers are there? There are 5 numbers. So I get a deviation of +15. Now from over here I get a deviation of -30. From over here I get a deviation of +15. So if I add all the deviation, I get a net deviation of -15, isn't it? But 78 is the average. That means what? That means the total deviation, if I add, should be 0. So if I'm getting a -15 here, I should get a +15 here, isn't it? So if I should get a +15 here, that means this number must be 15 greater than the average. That means this number must be 78 plus 15, that is 93. Isn't it cool? Isn't it better? Isn't it efficient? And isn't it gets you the question just right away, and you're going to see the applications of this much higher than what we are doing right now. Okay, so I hope you're understanding. Now we are just going by that one thing, that is that if 78 is the average, that means that the deviation throughout, if I add, would come down to be 0. I just calculated how much deviation did I get. From here I got a -30, from here I got a +15. That means I'm left with that -15. I want to cancel that out. So for me to cancel this -15 out, I should be cancelling this by a +15, and there is only one number to get that. That means that +15, that means this number must be greater than the average by 15. That means the number must be 93. So I hope that is clear. Okay, so I'm gonna move forward. Alright, now as I said, the average is the number which is right in the middle. Now let me assume that there is a list of numbers. Okay, there is a list of numbers and all the numbers in that list are same. Okay, they are same, a whatever it is, 15 15 15 or whatever it is. So all the numbers in that list are same. So if these are those numbers, so the average will also be one of these numbers, isn't it? So if let's suppose, let me take an example. Let's say the list has these 3 numbers, 5 5 5, and let's say 4 numbers and 5. So the average would be 5, isn't it? Right? So that means that the average is the same. Now why is that? Understand it. Don't just take it as I'm just gonna do 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 by 4. Understand that. That means that every number is giving me the same deviation from the average. Every number is giving me 0 deviation from the average. That's why 5 is the average, isn't it? Now, what if the numbers were distributed in such a way so that you would get 0 deviation if without thinking? And what are those numbers? Those numbers are numbers which are in arithmetic progression. Now what all numbers are in arithmetic progression? Those numbers are which have a constant difference between them. You're understanding my point? So if the numbers have a constant difference between them, that means that those numbers are gonna give equal deviation and positive, negative. Let me take that thing. Let's suppose this number is 5, and let me say this number is 10, this number is 15, and this number is 20. Okay, right? Great. So let me see its average. I'm gonna know that I know that this average of this number is 12.5. Okay, great. Now how far is 12.5 from 15? Positive 2.5. And how far is 12.5 from 10? Negative 2.5. Are they cancelling out each other? Yes. Okay, how far is 12.5 from 20? Again, positive 7.5. And how far is 12.5 from 5? Negative 7.5. Are they cancelling out each other? Yes, they are. That means that no matter what I do, if I keep adding numbers to right hand side and left hand side, they will keep cancelling out each other, and I'll have the number right in the middle in terms of position as well. Isn't it? Isn't it cooler? Now, the numbers which are in arithmetic progression, the average is always the middle number. So what is the average of these numbers? Now they are in arithmetic progression. Average of these numbers is the middle number, that is 30. Now how far is 30 from 20? Negative 10. How far is 30 from 40? Positive 10. Why? Because they are giving you equal deviations, and these deviations are cancelling out. This deviation will cancel out from this and keep on going. So no matter how many numbers you have, the middle number will always remain the average. Is that clear? Alright. Now, what is the average of these numbers if I don't want to calculate the middle number? It's the average of the first number and the last number. What is the average of these numbers? 30. Can I say 30 is equal to 10 plus 50 by 2? That will also give me the average. So from here we can conclude that the average of the numbers which are in arithmetic progression, it's the middle number, or it's the first number plus last number divided by 2. I hope that is pretty much clear, and this is a bomb of a point. If you understand this point, many questions from any exam you take, from the toughest exam in the country, you will be able to solve the questions in a moment, right? So what is the average of 1, 2 and 3? The average is 2. What is the average of 1, 2, 3, 4? It's the middle number, 2.5, right? Or I can say first number plus last number divided by 2. Now let me explain you one more point. Now what exactly is median? Median, it's the middle number when you arrange the number in ascending order, right? Now what is the middle number? Middle number is the average when the numbers are in arithmetic progression. So I can very well say that mean will be equal to median when numbers are in arithmetic progression. Okay, not always in another type of numbers, but over here mean will be equal to median when the numbers are in arithmetic progression. So these 3 points, if you remember, life is gonna be very, very easy. Let me show that to you how. Okay, so average of numbers which are in arithmetic progression. Let me just elaborate it to you once again. Now you tell me what is the average of these numbers. I know, I hear 40, isn't it? 40 is the average because it keeps on cancelling out each other, right? Great, let's move on. Okay, what is the average here? Middle number? 35. Great. Alright, let's move forward. Find the average of these numbers: 72, 75, 78, 84, 81, 84. Are these numbers in arithmetic progression? Yeah. There is a difference of 3 here, a difference of 3 here, a difference of 3 here, a difference of 3 here. That means these numbers are arithmetic progression. That means middle number is the average. So average is 78, right? So I hope this point is clear now to you. Let's do one more example on it. The average of these numbers. Now are these numbers in arithmetic progression? Yes, because there is a constant difference of 5 between the numbers. Now is it feasible for you to calculate the middle number? No, because you have to list down all the numbers. So what you can use it? You can say that it's the first number plus the last number divided by 2. That would give you the average. Okay, great. Alright, now what is the average of all 2-digit numbers? Okay, let me just, before that, what is the average of all 2-digit numbers. So what are the numbers? The numbers are 10, 11, keep on going till 99, isn't it? So the average would be 10 plus 99 by 2. Now do you really need to calculate the sum of all 2-digit numbers? No. So if you're doing that, start doing this, isn't it? Now this makes your life more easy. Now if I say what is the average of all 2-digit numbers which are divisible by 7, so what are those numbers? What's the first number? Do I hear 14? Yeah. What's the last number? It's 98. 98 is the number which is divisible by 7, isn't it? So what are the average of those numbers? 14 plus 98 by 2. Right? That will give me the average. So I hope you're understanding this point. This makes your life so easy, so that you understand any question that comes where average of those numbers are in arithmetic progression. You just do the first number plus last number divided by 2. And what is the average of all two-digit numbers which gives remainder 4 when divided by 9? Can you tell me which is the first number which gives remainder 4 when divided by 9? 9 plus 4, 13. What's the next number? 13 plus 9, which is what? 22. What's the next number? 22 plus 9. What is that? 31. So are these numbers in arithmetic progression? Yes, because they have a common difference of 9. So is there any need for me to calculate all the numbers? Not at all. So what's the last number? Last number, if you want to calculate, you simply say what's the last number which is divisible by 9? A 2-digit number. That's 99. But if I add 4 to it, you know what? I'll be ending up with a 3-digit number, because I just have to find number. Go back to 90 from here. Add 4. Alright, the last number which is divisible by 9 and gives remainder 4 is 94. So your number comes down to 13 plus 94 divided by 2. So that would be nothing but 107 divided by 2, which would be 53.5. Cool, isn't it? So start applying this whenever you see you want to calculate the average of the numbers which are in arithmetic progression. And alright, let's see this question, guys. Okay. Sorry. There are 15 consecutive numbers. The average of smallest 9 is 47. What is the average of all the numbers? Okay. Now this question is an amazing question. If you solve with this technique, it takes very less time. So let's suppose there are 15 numbers. Okay, so let me just list them down for your convenience. Let's suppose these are the position of those numbers. So there are a total of 15 numbers, and they are consecutive. So what are consecutive numbers? Like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All those are consecutive, which have a common difference of 1. So can I say that they are in arithmetic progression? Yes, they are. Okay, so the average of smallest 9 is 47. So these are those 9 numbers. The average of this is 47. So which is that number? That is middle number, that is 1 plus 9 by 2, which is the 5th number. 5th number is equal to 47. And what is the question asking you? The question is asking you what is the average of all the numbers. So how many numbers are there? 15. Which is the middle number? The 8th number. 1 plus 15 by 2. That is the 8th number. So if this is 47, so this would be 48, this would be 49, and that would be 50. Easy? Yes, so easy. Let me just take a quick recap. There are 15 consecutive numbers. The average of smallest 9 is 47. That means the 5th number is 47. That's what the average of smallest 9 is. And what is the average of all the numbers? So that is the average of all the 15 numbers, which would be the 8th number. And since they're consecutive numbers, so 47, 48, 49, and 50. Looks easy, isn't it? It is that easy. This point is a very amazing point. If you understand this point, if you start using that point everywhere, life is gonna be very easy for you. Now you guys do one thing. Now this is a previous CAT question. I would recommend you guys to pause the video, get the answer, okay? Because you should overcome the fear of CAT. It's not difficult at all. It's such an easy test, okay? Alright. Okay, all right. So I suppose you've gotten your answer, but let me explain it to you as well. Now there are 7 consecutive integers. So there are these 7 consecutive integers, and the average of first 5 is n. So the average of these numbers is n. So which number is actually n? This number is n, right? Now what is he saying? What is the average of all the 7 integers? So what's the average of all the 7 integers? Which is the 4th number, because that's the middle number for all 7. So if this is n and they are consecutive integers, so this is gonna be n plus 1, right? So I hope you're understanding this point. It becomes very easy now if you understand this point, right? So you're gonna understand that the average of numbers which are in arithmetic progression is the middle number. Okay, all right, great. So thank you very much for watching this video. This was the first video on average. I'm gonna come down to the second videos, third videos as well. We're gonna do allegation and all those sort of things. All right, so this is gonna be my email address. Don't forget to send me your valuable feedback, and don't forget to like my Facebook page. You'll get the link from the YouTube channel page. Make sure you do that and stay in touch and keep watching and keep enjoying. Thank you very much.